This is Jamie Drummond for GoodFood Revolution. I am here at George Brown College in Toronto with none other than our old friend António Maçanita. How are you, sir?
Good. You?
Fantastic, thank you. All the happier for having tasted through 8 wines from 4 of your different properties. And we are here today to discuss the terroir, the soils, and the grapes of those 4 very distinctive properties. Let's talk first about these wines here from the Azores, a place we have spent some wonderful time in together. Please tell us a bit about both the grapes and the soils and the terroir of this particular property.
So let's start with the location. So we are coming from this side to Lisbon. We're 2/3 of the way to Lisbon, so in the middle of the Atlantic, 9 islands called the Azores. In those 9 islands, there's one island called Pico Island. It's a huge stratovolcano in the middle of the Atlantic, so 2,350 meters tall, a big mountain standing, and the vineyards are in the foothills. They're in the last line close to the water. So we'll have volcanic soil. And we can even say volcano soil. It's basically mother rock that hasn't had the time to weather, transform into soil. And we have the vineyards planted in the cracks of the lava bed at sometimes 0 meters from the water if you have some altitude, to 50 to 60 meters. So
it's actually quite young, relatively young soil.
Yes, so benchmarking with age, so you could think Madeira is 5 million years old, Tenerife 7 million years old, Lanzarote 14 million years old, so 300,000 is a little baby. So it didn't have the time to weather. And to aggravate is that Pico had a lot of historic eruptions people witnessed from the 1500s up to the late 1700s, and most of the vineyards are on those type of rocks. So extreme soils with not a lot of vigor. Volcanic soils tend to be vigorous, but if there is no soil, there is no vigor. Then very so close, I think I like to say that it's promiscuously close with water. So the water is from the top, the atomized salt is from the top, so it's settling on top of the fruit. But also underneath the vineyards, in the middle of the vineyards, we have what we call tide wells. So the salty water goes underneath the vineyards as well. And what you feel is for sure volcanic wines, but also ocean-driven wines. I think this is what makes terroir so special. The grape varieties, they are indigenous. So Verdelho, Terrantes do Pico, and Arinto dos Açores. Arinto dos Açores, not to be confused with Arinto of the mainland. It's a different grape. And what we had today was two vintages of Arinto dos Açores, so 18 and 21, showing the potential of this grape. So it's a grape that has beautiful acidity, great texture, and what I wanted to show also that it can really stand time. And this 18 vintage is completely vibrant and alive. What you should expect of stylistic is like if someone has broken some shells in your glass of oysters or clams, and so there's this ocean-driven aromatic mixed with beautiful kind of grapefruity type of aroma, and then beautiful tension, but always with texture. There's a lot of minerality, salinity in the palate. Great food wines, great shellfish, fish, and also things that you can cut throughout fat. And I would say if you wanted to kind of think what it tastes like without tasting it, think of maybe Alvarinho or Riesling with a kind of a slap of ocean on top of it.
I hear you. Now, these wines do have quite pronounced acidity, but they actually have a little bit of a higher pH than many wines.
Yes. So what makes volcanic soils atypical is that they are very rich in salts like potassium and magnesium that brings the pH up, and to what for most regions that I also working with Alentejo, and that would be, I would consider that negative because it would flatten, so to speak, my wine. But in Azores, because there's this tension, it actually is creating comfort in the palate. It's creating a sensation of warmth and texture in the palate.
Delightful. Well, thank you very much for joining us at Good Food Revolution today. We really appreciate your 101 on the terroir and the grapes of the Azores. Thank you very much.
Thank you.